Good afternoon. My name is Clint, Lindsey. I'm with A2R Farms in Willamette Seed and Grain. My family's been farming in the valley since the 60s. We grow grass seed, oats, beans, wheat, flax, various other seed crops. We're also part of a group of farms that is basically set up to increase the availability of staple foods, most of those grown organically. My chief concern is that by allowing the full deregulation of a GMO crop like sugar beets, it'll lead to a slippery slope, which will allow other GMO crops in the valley. I think sugar beets are just the first step. I find it somewhat ironic that 6 years ago, when we applied for a permit to grow canola, we said many of the same things that some of my fine colleagues are saying now, which we would cover our loads, we would kill volunteers, we would make all provisions for cleaning our equipment. We met and exceeded the ODA's requirements for approving that permit, but we're still denied because of the perceived threat to the vegetable seed industry. And I respect that decision. I think it was ultimately the right decision. So now we're hearing the same arguments from seed growers who are saying, we've been doing this responsibly for a while, but we can control these risks. We've also heard statements that are saying that it's almost inevitable that you will eventually see the GE traits in the non-GE varieties. Well, that's an unacceptable risk to us. Why risk a whole industry? You know, we have a very unique position here in the Willamette Valley. We have a burgeoning organic seed industry that is under direct threat from genetically modified crops. And I don't want to mortgage the future of our ability to provide organic food so that Monsanto can line their pockets. Thank you.
My name is Andrew Still, S-T-I-L-L, owner and operator of Adaptive Seeds with my wife near Sweet Home, Oregon. We have grown a wide variety of GM-free vegetable, herb, grain, and legume seed, including Beta vulgaris, beets, and chard. We currently cannot grow beets or chard due to the I guess I would say, the pestilence problem of GM pollen. Roundup ready beets are a pest to me and my thousands of customers. The environmental impact statement does not adequately address the pollen trespass. Knowing that 3 miles is not satisfactory isolation, that our seed requires zero contamination. The inevitable gene flow that will happen with the non-GM seed will cause irreparable harm and will prevent me from growing GM-free beets and chard for seed. Coexistence is a great idea, but this environmental impact statement does not make it seem plausible. The environmental impact statement does not adequately address the active problem of sugar beet stecklings volunteering for years in plots where they have been grown in the past. For example, in my hand, these plants do have the ability in the Willamette Valley to produce GM pollen and contaminate non-GM beets and chard seed. We have seen these volunteers in fields which have not grown GM beets seed for 2 years, as well as in places for 3 to 4 years in past fields. This is a pest for me. Although sugar beets are grown as an annual for vegetable production, or whatever you want to call it, seed production is different. I have observed Beta vulgaris to act as an annual, a biennial, and as a perennial. This increases the chance of pollen contamination. If GM beets are deregulated, I will not be able to grow GM-free seed, and I will likely not be able to grow GM-free chard or beets as a vegetable producing farmer. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Kleeger. It's K-L-E-E-G-E-R. In the fall of 2009, my husband and I signed a lease for land near Sweet Home, Oregon, with the intention to produce organic vegetable, bean, grain, and specialty seed crops. We knew that Beta seed crops had been grown on 1 acre of the 30-acre property under subcontract from the previous owners. After 2 growing seasons, We have discovered hundreds of sugar beet volunteers. Andrew just showed one of them to you. Many of them are turning up in land that had not, to our knowledge, been used to grow beta seed crops. So the seeds have either persisted in the soil for many years, or they somehow managed to move. Under the partial deregulation of GE sugar beets that has been in effect since 2010, Roundup Ready sugar beet fields are supposed to be policed frequently for volunteers. Several people providing testimony here today have said that that happens. But on our farm, we have not had one beta seed representative walk our fields, not even one time. Instead, we are left to be responsible to control this plant pest in our crops. On my farm, GE sugar beets have proven themselves to be a plant pest. Because of this, my ability as a grower to produce certain varieties of chard and table beets has been limited, as I cannot risk the possibility of GE sugar beets showing up in related food crops. My ability to grow chard and table beet seed has also been limited because of the presence of volunteer GE beets on my farm. The regulations currently in effect under partial deregulation are not being enforced. As a farmer and a seed producer, I encourage the USDA to fully regulate and enforce current regulations in the H1 sugar beets. Thank you.
I'm Ted Hake, H-A-K-E. Sorry about my sloppy handwriting.
That's okay.
I'm a production manager for Universal Seed Company, a vegetable seed company located here in the Willamette Valley. And we would like to comment, excuse me, on the request for non-regulated status of glyphosate-tolerant H71 sugar beet, and specifically the production of seed for these sugar beets. While Universal Seed, as a company, is not taking an official position on GMO beets, our main concern, and that of our customers and growers, is the possibility of outcrossing with the H71. With our hybrid table beet and hybrid Swiss chard seeds produced here in the valley. Excuse me. Our average annual acreage and value of the aforementioned crops is not insignificant. In the petitioner's request and other testimony that's been given or will be given here, the OSCS and WVSSA isolation standards have been referenced. It mentions the OSCS standards for seed certification as a maximum of 1.9 miles from non-sugar beet beta species to sugar beets produced for stock seed. The Willamette Valley Specialty Seed Association has an isolation distance requirement of 4 miles between H71 and non-sugar beet beta species. Both of these references are intended in the request to show the possibility of these crops coexisting here in the Willamette Valley under strict supervision of the seed companies. Unfortunately, we have to disagree with this. The seed certification isolations for beta species, while certainly not laughable, are not used by any vegetable seed companies that we are aware of. The harsh reality is, in testing our non-sugar beet beta species for the years 2009 and 2010, we have found 20% of the fields to be contaminated with the Roundup Ready gene.
Whoa.
This occurred even when stricter WVSSA guidelines were followed. Tests for 2011 crop are not yet completed. This is a very serious matter for our customers, our growers, and for Universal Seed as a company. We feel that the USDA needs to further study the possibilities of outcrossing, and that this needs to be taken into account, excuse me, before any further steps are taken towards deregulation. Thank you.
It's unusual for me to come and speak in public, and I'm here to say that I encourage stronger regulation of the sugar beet industry. I think that everyone here is sincere in believing that they will do the best job they can. Accidents happen, and this is such a wonderful growing area. I've lived in Benton County for 40 years. I'm a small farmer and a seed grower myself. If the accident happens, it can't be turned around. To have contamination of GMOs in the beets and chard that this valley is already producing is very, very dangerous, and I feel very nervous about it. It's also a historic time, not just for agriculture, but in our country economically. People are saying no to the big corporations and saying that money is not the most important thing, the economy is not the most important thing. And the bigger corporations set a lot of rules. Monsanto has not been very generous in testing whether this food is harmful for us. So I think it's also not very democratic, and now I perhaps sound like I'm really ranting. Sugar's not even a nutritious crop. People are saying if they can't grow genetically modified sugar beets, they might grow other things. Maybe they would grow local food for Benton County, for Oregon. I feel like that would be a much more healthy and wonderful use of our beautiful valley. Thank you.
Certified organic grower here in the Willamette Valley, and I would urge that the sugar beet industry be regulated as all biotech industries should be regulated. One of the things that the USDA has to look at when we are certified through USDA, we cannot have any GMO contamination in our products, and I do grow beets and I grow chard. There is some evidence here on the valley floor that there's already been crossing, and I think other people will speak to that and know more about that than I do. This is just one of the biotech tools, and I'm not particularly against biotechnology. I just think that we need to regulate it, and the fact that there was a court case in 1980 that allowed all the seed to be privately owned, and therefore can impact our personal farms as a result, and has throughout court cases. It's not a technology that is, the impact of it is not a technology that we've had any choice over. It's come to us, been laid on us, and it threatens the whole organic industry. The deregulation of alfalfa is the first thing. Sugar beets is going to be the second, and there's some of us here today that are quite worried about the coming of biotech wheat into the valley. So I would say that the regulations need to stand and that actually need to be stood.
Thank you.